Hey guys, Forex here, hope you're all well. What you're looking at in front of you is a ZX Spectrum +2 grey model. Yeah, it's still working. This is part 3. I want to strip this down and give it a really good clean. Now that's for 2 reasons. The first one is it stinks like someone's old loft. And the second reason is the keyboard is a little bit flaky. It works perfectly fine. What I mean by that is if you press a key straight on, you can see it presses fine, but if you catch it in the corner, you can see sometimes it's a little stiff, and it just needs stripping down and giving a good clean. So yeah, if you stick around, I'll crack on with it. Now, to get in the Spectrum, you need to remove 6 screws. There's one here, there's one here, there's one here, there's one here, there's one just here, and the final one is here. Once you remove those, I'll flip it over and then show you how you take the top lid off. Now, to take the top lid off the Spectrum, you need to be very careful because there are a few things you can actually break if you don't do it properly. The way you do it is you grab it near the tape deck like this and you start opening it like a clam. So you do this, you open it up, and the first thing you'll see is this tape connector plugged into this here. So you just need to pull it out like that, and then what you need to do is you need to swing it over like this, and you can see 2 tails. Now these are the keyboard membrane connector, so you need to remove them from this connector here and then this connector. Now you want to be very careful when you pull these out because these are getting very old now. You know, these are like 35+ years old now, and they're very brittle. So just be careful when you're pulling them out. Do them really gingerly, and they should come out perfectly fine. Now, before I remove the motherboard, I want to show you something I did off camera. I did it between the first video and the second video. What I did is I went ahead and changed a few transistors around. I changed TR4, TR5, and I think it was TR7. They are the wrong way around from the factory, so I had to change them around. Now, okay, let's get this motherboard out the bottom of the case. Now, to do that, I just want to lift out the heatsink, put it to one side like that. Then I need to remove 6 screws. There's one here, 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 and the final one is here. Remove those, I can take the motherboard and the heatsink out, and that's the bottom of the case ready to get cleaned. That's the bottom of the case all stripped, ready for cleaning. Let's start stripping down the top case. Now, to do that, I need to first remove the tape deck or data recorder. Now, to do that, I need to remove 6 screws. There's one here, 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 and the final one is here. If I remove those, I can then flip it over, and just underneath there is the power LED indicator that I need to remove as well. So I'll get this off and then show you that. That's all the screws removed from the tape deck. What I can do now is pick it up and I can flip it over like this, and then I can show you the power LED indicator. Now, to remove that, it's very simple. There's just this one screw here. Remove that and then this will come straight off. What I want to do now is remove the keyboard. Now, I've actually noticed that there are 3 screws missing. There should be more screws in than this, and I'll show you where they are. So to remove this, there's a number of screws you need to remove. There would be one here, there's one here, there would have been another one here, and the final one is here. Remove those, and then you can take the whole of the keyboard out. The top case is nearly stripped down. What I want to do now is remove the actual cassette caddy. Now, to do that, the first thing I need to do is loosen the eject spring. So I'll just do this, and that's taken care of the eject spring. Now to remove it, it's just that one screw there. Now to actually get the caddy out, you have to be very careful because you know this plastic's starting to age now. But you may be able to see, if I show you here, there's a couple of clips. You can see you just pull them out like this on that side. There's one on this side, and same again, you just pull it out, you turn it over, and then you'll just be able to rock out the caddy like that. So I'll go ahead and do that and then come back. What I want to do now is remove the see-through plastic perspex that's on the Cape caddy. Now to do that, it's very easy. You just pull the plastic from the top like this, either side, and I'll show you. It clips in. Maybe you can see the two little clips just here that hold it in. All you've got to do is prise the plastic like this, just above the clips, and push through with your finger like that, and it will just pop straight out. And that's the top of the case stripped down. What I want to do now is strip down the keyboard. Now to do that, I want to take the back metal plate off. So there's a number of things I need to do. The first thing I need to do is remove 4 screws. There's one here, there's one here, there's one here, and the final one is here. And then what I need to do is these plastic clips, I need to go around and push them out like that, and I need to go all round the keyboard with those plastic clips so I can get the back metal plate off. That's the back metal plate taken off. I'll show you that. Just remove it now. Now what I can do now is remove the actual membrane. Now a bit of advice, guys, take this and put it somewhere safe, because these are very, very fragile. So now I can actually work on the actual keys. What I want to do now is remove all the keys from the back plastic plate. Now I saw Jan Beater's video not long ago where he was restoring a Spectrum, and he made a mistake. And you know, you can forgive someone for making a mistake, because you know it's probably his first time in a Spectrum and he's not used to it. What he was doing is he was using a key puller to pull all the keys off. You can't do that with these, and I'll show you why. They're not press fitted like normal keys. There's actually clips that you need to push together. If you look, there's a clip at the top and there's a clip at the bottom, and all you have to do is push the top clip in, you push the bottom clip in, and then what you can do is, once you've done that, you can grab the key and it will just pull out really easy. Just make sure that you don't lose the spring when you do that. So I go ahead and remove all the keys. That's the keyboard all stripped down. Now I've got to be truthfully honest with you guys. I got to this thing just in time. This was in worse state than I thought it was. The first indication that there was something wrong, if we take a look at the springs, a lot of them are rusted. Look, you can see the rust on them. Now what I'll do is I'll flip over the actual plastic board the keys connect to, and you'll see what I mean. Take a look at this. That's really bad. I can tell you now, I got to this thing just in the nick of time. Now you may be going, oh, it's just a bit of rust, what's the problem? If I turn it over and show you, there are some places where you can actually see the rust starting to come through, and that only has to get onto that keyboard membrane, and yeah, that's your keyboard membrane done. So yeah, I got to this thing just in the nick of time. Look at that thing, it's disgusting. Now you may be wondering, so am I going to treat this? Well, the actual plastic housing, I can just wash this off. The rust will come off. As long as I give it a really good scrub and clean, that should be perfectly fine. Now the keys, if we take a look at the keys, if we look at some of them, you can see what I mean about if you take a look at that key, there's rust starting to form on the top of that spring, so I'm going to have to take care of that. And the actual springs that push this key back up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to soak these in vinegar for 10-15 minutes before I actually wash the keys, and hopefully that should stop the rust that's forming just here. And then once I've done that, I'll take them out of vinegar, and then I'll get these in the wash with the rest of the other stuff. So I've actually got the keys in some white vinegar. You can already see the vinegar doing its thing because the vinegar's changing to like a rusty colour. So yeah, what I'll do is I'll leave them in there for 15 minutes. I'll take them out, then I'll get everything else in the bath, give it a good clean with the keys and everything. And when I'm doing that, I'll put these springs in here and let them do their thing as well. And then we should be good, hopefully. As you can see, I've got the upper, lower and the actual keyboard plastic part and the tape housing in the bath or soaking. I'll leave them in there for half an hour, then come back, give them a scrub, and that should be those taken care of. I've treated the keys, they've all been rust treated in white vinegar. Now the reason I use white vinegar is because it stops rust and it doesn't harm keys. So you know, if you use a proper rust remover you can damage the keys, but if you use white vinegar it generally works and stops the rust. But I've taken them out and they're in the bath now in a little jar, sitting in some soapy water, ready to be cleaned when I clean the top and lower case. Now what I've done is I've done the same here. I've just put these springs in the white vinegar, and again I'll let these go for half an hour, 45 minutes, and they should be okay after that. What I want to do now is, if you take a look at the back metal plate, you can see rust spots on the metal plate, and I'll turn it over and you'll see it even more. Now if I was to leave it like that, that rust would spread to the keys again and then just start all over again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Dremel with a brass wheel and I'm just going to grind off the top surface rust. That's the back metal plate all cleaned with the Dremel and the brass brush, and as you can see it's looking good. There's not one speck of rust left on this thing. Now what I'll go and do now is I'll spray a rag with a bit of WD-40 on there, and I'll just give this a wipe, and that'll give it a little bit of a protective layer. That's all the springs and levers all treated. There's not a speck of rust on them now, and what I'll do is I'll leave them for 20 minutes, just let them air dry, and then when I've done that is I'll take a can of WD-40 and I'll just spray a coat of WD-40 over the top, and that should be them taken care of. Now if you want to know what the white vinegar looks like afterwards, yeah, it works guys. White vinegar, it's pretty good, works every single time. I've cleaned up the plastic housing that holds the keys, but what I wanted to show you was the actual Q-tips. Now these Q-tips had alcohol put on them and they were inside, so going inside where the actual key was, and as you can see the rust was starting to go through, and it wouldn't have been long until it got down to that membrane, and then once it gets to that membrane it's pretty much game over. Time to get this Spectrum back together. Now I'm going to start with the keyboard. The keyboard's been treated, rust removed, It's been cleaned and it's ready to go back together. So yeah, I'll get this back together and then show you what it looks like afterwards. That's the keyboard all put back together. Now if you look now, I can press the keys in the corner and they press down perfectly fine now. So yeah, that's the keyboard taken care of, and boy did I get to it just in time. We're all done, we're all cleaned, we're all serviced. Let's get this mess back together again. And we're all back together and it's come out not looking too bad. There's a few places where you can see here, if you look at the plastic, it's just got scuffed a little bit. I could get a bit of plastic polish and get that out. If you look at the ZX Spectrum Plus 2 label, there's a few bits of the silver missing off it, but you know, this thing's 35 plus years old. It's gonna have a few battle scars. Now I'll show you the keyboard. If I press in the corner of the keys, you can see they all press perfectly fine now. Yeah, I was not expecting how bad this keyboard had rusted underneath. If I'd have done a pretty poor job where I'd just gone, you know what, I'll just take some cotton buds and just go in between the keys and give it a clean that way, I would have never seen that rust underneath. And I said in the video, you know, if that rust had got down to the membrane, well technically it already had, because if you remember at the underside of the keys, these keys, there's a little spring that pushes on the membrane. If you look at the video, some of those started to rust, so it already made its way down. So this thing was a matter of weeks, probably months, before that membrane got destroyed. I could have stored it away, come back to it, you know, a couple of months, 3 months later, and it'd been toast, and I need a new membrane. And good luck finding a new membrane for a ZX Spectrum Plus 2. But yeah, we're all back together, and she's looking pretty nice. Let me wrap up the video. Let's load again. I've got my divMMC Future plugged in, power on. As you can see, it's booting. So I'll press the menu key and we get to the menu, and I think I'll load Slightly Magic. So we'll go to tapes, we'll go down to S, and the keyboard's feeling great, by the way. This one, and it should be on the second page, and there it is. So yeah, there you go guys. Hope you like these past 3 videos of this ZX Spectrum Plus 2 grey model. If you have, please give it a big thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe, all the usual stuff. And as always, I'll catch you on the next one. I love the tune in this game, it's fantastic. That's why I chose it. Catch you next time, guys. What am I doing?